Okay, in this lab, we are trying to work on Iptables, and Iptables actually firewall, and is a standard firewall that is being included in the most Linux system, and it will help you to manage some packets that are coming through your system, coming through your servers, and sometimes it would be helpful that the packets that are going out of your server, you can manage that, and some forward things that is helpful for might be helpful for you, forward packets that are coming from your servers to another routes that you might be set it on that, and etc. But the important thing is that Iptables actually are being installed, actually is being installed in your system. It means that you don't need to install anything. And if you want to see about the Iptables, you need to have root access. So you are just typing sudo iptables and then -l. It asks my password, and finally you are seeing some three different chain. The first chain that is here, chain input. The second chain is chain forward, that is here, and the last one is the chain output. But as you see, I have some rules in my chain input, and I want to just flush all the rules that I have into my Iptables. How I can do that? I just type sudo iptables -f, and then again sudo iptables -l, and as you see now, I do not have any rules in my chain input. So we are going through one by one about what is chain input, what is chain forward, chain output, and what is the policy that is coming in front of each chain. But you know about, first of all, the input, and you need to know that we are working in this lab on our input chain, because most of the time it's one of the most important chain, because it handles all the packets that are addressed to your server. And if you want to talk about the output chain, this chain contains the rules for the traffic that are being created by your server. And about the forward, actually this chain is being used to deal with the traffic that is going to the other servers and are not created on your server. So we can say that this chain is basically a way to configure your server to route requests to the other machines. As you are seeing here, each of these chains can have one or zero or more rules, and each of them has a default policy. And what this default policy says you, it says that if the packets that are coming through your system, for example, I'm talking about the chain input, if the packet that are coming through your system is not matched with the roles that you are set, you have set into your chain input, okay, accept that packet. And if you are just set the policy to drop here, it drop all the packets that are not being matched with the rules that you have set into your chain input. So overall, to summarize, keep in mind that again, Iptables direct all the packets that come through your interface, and it's going to the appropriate chain and check it against each rule that you are setting that in each of these chain inputs. And if it finds one matches, it tries to run the rules that you actually set for that rule. For example, accept that packet or drop that packet, or etc. But one of the important things that we need to know is, in the rules, it's going from up and down, it's going sequentially. For example, if one packet coming into your system and it goes into the chain input, first the system check the first rule. So if it's not being matched, it goes to the second rule, and then if it's not being matched, it goes to the third rule. So I want to tell that because I want to tell, if you want to have a more specific rule, Okay, if you want to have a more specific rule before a packet is being accepted, put that rule above of that all the line of the rules, and then going if you're going to the end of the rules, end line of the rules, you are seeing how much they have. We have more general rules compared to the first line of the rules. So the rules that are near the top of the chain should have a higher level of specificity than the rules at the bottom. And I'm telling you in some examples, but make sure, keep in mind actually that these examples that we are working on, it doesn't take the order of the rules. As I told you now again, you need to know about that. First rules need to be more specific than the other rules that has actually more general rules. Okay, let's go and see the first basic Iptable commands, and tells you what it says. So the first command that I want to tell you is about a command that is so popular. It's so common, and I just want to type sudo iptables at first, and then -a. What's a -a input? Okay, what -a input says? Actually, when I'm telling about the -a flag, it says that add a rule to the end of a chain. Okay, so for example, if we have 3 different rules, add a rule to the 4th line of the chain. And it says that okay, we want to add a rule, and we want to, it's coming to the end of the chain, and after that I want to say the system that call a module name contract. And what contract says, actually it has a set of core functionality, and it has a set of extension or modules that provide extra capabilities for you. And if you are trying to do that, if you are calling this function, you can activate some commands. For example, in this sense, we can activate --ct state. And what ctstate is doing, ctstate is one of the commands that is made available for you when you are just calling the contract module. And this command actually allows us to match packets based on how they are related to the packets we have seen before. I want to take you an example. For example, imagine you are trying to create, you are going to connect to a server through TCP connections, okay? And TCP connection just doesn't have just one packet. It has 3 different levels: SYN, SYNAC, and ACK. And it's take all the packets that are kind of related to the previous packet. For example, ACK in a TCP 3-way handshaking is kind of related to SYNAC, or SYNAC is kind of related to SYN packet. So it takes all of these things into consideration, and after that we pass this command. We pass it the value of established, and another one is related. So what establish is doing, it allows the packet that are part of an existing connection, and another one is about the related one, that is allow the packets that are associated with an established connection. They are kind of similar to each other. So I will send you the reference that I actually provide this tutorial for you, and you can study more about that. What are those? So after that, okay, now I want to tell the system, if you are seeing this type of packets that are kind of related to our previous packets, what you want to do, what should we do, what we are supposed to do. Okay, we are just telling that, okay, accept this packet. Through what command? Through the command of accept. So accept, it just tells us all the if the packet is coming to our system. and this packet is kind of related to the previous packets, to the previous relation and connection, accept this kind of packets. And then if I want to go and type sudo iptables -l, I should see the command that I actually created that you are seeing here, and I just put it into the chain input. Okay, now I want to tell you more specific rules. Okay, if I want to have more specific rules, for example, if the packet is coming into my system and this packet has the protocol of TCP, and this packet wants to get the access to my SSH port, what should I want to do? Accept this packet or drop this packet? Okay, again, I'm coming into the sudo iptables -a, and then input. Okay, it says that add a rule into the input chain, and the packets that is coming and this kind of packet has the TCP protocol, -p means protocol, and then TCP, and after that -d port, and these kinds of packets are being distinct, are being sent actually to the destination port of 22. That's kind of these kind of packets actually wants to get access to the 22 port that should be our SSH port, for example, SSH port in our server. So what can we do now? What should be our policy in this type of packets that wants to get access to our SSH port? Okay, we are trying to just drop that we are trying to just accept that packet. And another thing that I want to do is that, okay, I know how to deal with the packets that are actually coming from that actually wants to get access to the SSH, and now I'm going into another rules that is telling me about mail server. So the packets that wants to get access to the mail server, what can we do? We are just change the destination port, that is 80, and as you're seeing, I just want to hit the enter, and here I have now 3 different rules. So I want to just check my iptables, that is sudo iptables -l, and it says me, okay, now you have 3 different rules here, and if I wanted to if I wanted to have more specific rules, I should put the rules that are more specific in the first line, and then coming through the other rules that is coming after that line, and going to the general rules actually. But one thing has been left, and it's about another command that it just want to make sure that everything is working correctly in our server. Okay, and we are telling that it's about the loop back. So if I want to tell you about what is loop back quickly, if we want to if our server actually wants to say everything is working correctly, okay, and instead of sending the packet to the another system, instead of sending packet to the another destination IP address, it tries to loop back that packet to itself. For example, from it says to itself that if one service wants to communicate with another service that is listening for connection on the port of 4555, that's just a number, so it can send a packet to that port through the loopback device. Okay, how? Through this command, sudo iptables -i, and then input 1, and then -i, and loopback. just accept this type of packets, that they want to know about everything is working correctly in our system, everything, every functionality that we have in our system, in our servers, it works perfect. So all the loopback packets that are coming into your firewall, just accept them without without any careful investigation that what they are. And it's where are we now? Okay, I just need to put this one in a correct way. Okay, dash, yeah, sudo iptables dash I insert the loop back into the chain input, and insert that into the first line of our chain input. That's why I put the number 1 in front of the input, and then dash I, and after that is LO. It means that insert loopback, and then finally accept. So again, insert a rule into our input chain in the first line of our input chain, and then this rule named loopback, and then accept all the packets that are a type of loopback, and then enter. So let's go and see what is that actually. I just want to go and set sudo iptables dash L, and I'm seeing all the packets that all the actually rules that I have here. And sometimes you can use, instead of dash L, you can use another flag which is dash S. And what's the difference between dash S and dash L? Dash L flag actually doesn't include some information like the interface that a rule is tied to or something, but these are actually an important part of the rule that we want to add. We just added. So if you want to see about the interface and a kind of detailed description, we are just saying sudo iptable dash S. And it says it provides for you more description. The last thing that I want to show you is about implementing a drop rule. So what is a drop rule? Sometimes a drop rule is actually the same with accept, like the things that you are seeing earlier. For example, if you are if the packets that is coming into your system are being matched with one of the rules that you said, as you saw, we just accept that packet. So if you don't want to accept that packet, you just, instead of just saying accept, you're just saying drop that packet easily. But sometimes you need to make sure that drop, where did you insert that drop packet into your input chain? For example, if you put the drop packet in the first line of your chain, it drops all the packets without going into the other commands that you put after that rule. So putting the drop packet is important, especially if you want to go into the general rule. For example, you are just putting some rules as an accepting the packet, and at the end of the line you are saying that okay, if the packets are not being matched with all the rules that I've said, just drop that packet. So you can think of it, it's the people that are just adding the drop rule at the end of the chain, they completely ignore the policy of the input chain. It doesn't allow us to go into the policy of that input chain for investigating that we want to keep this packet or not. For example, here, if I'm just typing sudo iptables dash a input dash j drop, the things that happen is IPTables dash L, it tries, if it starts from this line, it check all the packets that are coming through to your system, and if it doesn't found the specific rule for that packet, it drop that packet easily, and it doesn't allow us to go into this policy to accept that packet. And it's so important, so make sure that when you put that this type of policy that are more generic compared to the other rules, make sure that where did you insert this packet. And another thing is that if, for example, if you put another rule after this, for example, you are just coming here and I don't know, maybe another port like this port, okay, and after that you are just typing sudo iptable -l, all the packets, all the rules that you are set after this rule are being ignored because it doesn't allow you to come through after this rule. It dropped that packet, and it's like all the rules that you are setting here is complete. It doesn't make any sense for the system. So in order to, for example, delete some rule, you can just instead of add a -a, you can just say a -d. So for example, instead of adding the rule, you are just typing deleting that rule, okay. And let me see, sudo iptables -d and then input -j drop, and after when I'm again typing this command, it showed me that the drop the drop rule actually has been removed. So and sometimes if you want to go and add some rules in the specific line, you can add a number of the line in front of the input. For example, you want to add another rule like sudo iptables and then -i and then -input, and then you are putting the number of line here like 4, and then you are putting your new rules here like whatever you want to insert in that line, okay. That's it. And sometimes you want to know about, you have for example 100 lines and you don't know how to get that line. So the only thing that you need to do is just going to sudo iptables -l, and after that you are just typing show me line numbers through --line -numbers, and it tells you about the numbers that you can have in your system, in your rules. And if you want to saving your Iptable configuration, the easiest way is that installing the Iptables persistent package. I don't want to install that, but you can, if you want to just save that configuration, you can do that. And after that you are saving your update through just one quick command, that is like sudo invokes -rc. Don't worry about that, I'm not typing here, but you can see that in the tutorial file. And okay, I think that's enough for this lab. You now have a basic understanding about some rules about what is chain input, chain out, chain input, chain forward, and chain output, and what is the policy that are being set in front of each chain. And again, you know about that. If you want to have more specific rules, you are putting that into in the first lines before the generic rules. And if you want to have if you don't want to go into policy, actually you are just setting a more generic drop rule. Or if you, for example, your policy here is drop and you don't want to go into the drop policy into the chain input, you are being a more general accept rule here at the end of this chain input. If you have any other question, you can ask, you can email me, and I can provide an email for you. We can arrange a time together to answer your question.